Hey everyone, Dan back in the Chicken Garage. Been a few weeks, I got a day off and gonna do some more bike maintenance. Continue on with this guy, my 21 300. We'll start on this end here first. What am I gonna do today? I know I got bearings to do, wheel bearings, steering stem bearings. I'm gonna do my shock bearings. Just a bunch of maintenance. It's about a year old now, and the first thing though today I'm going to do is I've already had the crankcase pressure sensor out a few times, once on this, and cleaned it, inspected it. I'm going to disassemble all that again, take that out, put it on the bench, and clean it off and have a look at it again, just because that's what I'm going to do. Honestly, after 20 hours on these bikes, your in-tank filter is going to look like it's been 200 hours on it. So my plan is to change it out every 30 to 40 hours. That's what I've been talking to people about. That's what I plan on doing. It's a fairly easy job, and it's really good preventative maintenance. Loosen up the rear swing arm. So we can raise that up. And I'm just going to loosen the top ones off for now. I'm not going to take those out, just loosen them. You don't need to take them out. So we can swivel that up. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is take off the TPS cover. So of course you're going to need that safety bit to take this guy off. And these are Loctited, so always remember to Loctite them when you put them in. Get this guy off of here. There's two. Oh yeah, I like to take those off. I took that off probably 10, 12 hours ago. Cleaned it, cleaned all the surfaces out of here, cleaned the sensor off, put a little more oil down, or a little grease on this O-ring here. Alright, you can see a little bit of the dielectric I still had in there from last time, which is good. So that's good and clean in there. That's good. It's not getting any dirt or crap. And that connector is good too. I mean, you're paying big money for all this stuff. You might as well keep it clean. So I got that cleaned off, sprayed down, hit with the wash or with the air. So I'm just going to put a little grease on that O-ring, jam him back in there. So get your favorite grease, smear a little bit on there. Doesn't have to be a whole lot at all. Just nice and easy. Pry him back down. Make sure he's seated. Now the connector end, this might be a little overkill, but I'm all about overkill. I'm just going to give this a little squirt of WD. Just clean up the crap on it so that the clip works a little easier. So what I've done here is once you get everything ready to take off and the bolts are out and you're ready to slip up the rear subframe, it's going to be tight around this boot, okay? It just is. And you can pry up on this as much as you want, but you've got to sort of help this out when it's coming. I sprayed a little WD on there, took a long flathead in behind this, and I just easily twisted this as I was pulling up on the subframe. Okay, now what I'm going to do is loosen a couple here, zip ties, just to give me a little more room to maneuver up here, and then I'll zip tie those back together again. Now once you got the subframe all raised up, you can disconnect the breather hose to the, this goes all the way from the air box all the way around the front, snakes around the power valve, and you can disconnect this this connector here once everything is put back, just to give yourself some more room. So I got that tied up, a couple zip tie or bungees just to be safe, and there's no pressure on my intake boot. So now I'm going to take the throttle body off. That's what I think. Take the throttle plate off, the screw right here. and take the plastic cover off, undo the throttle cables, take the old pump hose off, and then go around the other side and undo the clamp for the reed valve, and take the throttle body right off. So I'm going to take a Torx bit, undo this plate. Now this has been glued on there too. I'm going to pry these boots up so I can get at the lock nuts. Alright, so that's pretty much pried off. What I ended up doing was went around the other side with a long flat head and a punch, and you can see that's where I broke the tab off last year, right here. This is where the tab was. Yeah. So I just went from the other side and just pried this off, and it came right off. So, good. And then there's the inside of the throttle body, or the throttle housing, sorry. And yeah, I'm gonna take that off and give that a good cleaning too. Might even lube up those throttle cables while I'm in here. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh yeah. I don't know, we'll see. Just gonna pull these up out of the harness. Get them out of the way. I'm just going to go in, probably go from the other side, just take a flathead and just pry on this oil hose at the base. I don't pry, I kind of twist back and forth as I'm pulling the line off. Go, I got it. So no oil will come out of that because it's not pumping right now. Okay, I got the throttle body off on the bench. Just going to go ahead and clean everything up. There's your that's a Slavin's idle mod right there, idle mod screw. Just give it a little bath basically. Alright, back with the toothbrush. Little nooks and crannies. Trying to keep everything tilted away as much as I can from getting anything in the TPS. I don't know. Yeah, it's overkill. I'm all about overkill, you guys, if you haven't noticed yet. Might even take that that idle screw out of there. I don't know yet. I might cut one of the rings off because it's tight. It always has been tight. And I know it doesn't move because it's tight, so I don't know yet. Don't know. We'll see. So I said this before in my last video, but when you're taking this crankcase breather hose off, undo this connector here, and when you're prying down on this black rubber hose right here, pry down very gently as you're just easily pulling down on this. This little plastic connector, which sits on the bottom of the tray that connects your your CCPS, this little connector that goes down to this hose has a little barb on it, and it's twisted, as you can see. And guys have broken these connectors off before. That's why guys are making aftermarket stuff for these. To, you know, I still may try it yet, but I'm still able to use the one that's on here. So be very careful when you're taking this hose off. And you know, take the whole thing off when you're done with this top end, and just have a look inside here, and I'll show you. That should be clean. There shouldn't be any black gunk coming out of there. Maybe a little tiny bit. All right, pull this down. Pull this up. Take your screwdriver. And this is where I was talking about, right in here. Just get in there nice and easy. Go back and forth as you're slightly pulling down. And it's not a bad idea, if it's not coming right off the hop, spray a little WD-40 on that. Probably can't see because my hand's in the way, but you can see the little bit of light in there. There's one, and same thing with the other. Okay, so it's out. Now I'm just going to look through it here first, see if I can see any daylight, which I can. Totally, it's totally clean. Spray that out. Look at that, nothing. Next thing you do is you reach around the front of the bike, squeeze this tab on your oil pump connector, squeeze it, pull it right off the oil pump. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to undo the oil pump here and let it dangle. And there's one and two more on the other side to drop the tray down over the pump. Okay, so you don't need to take the pump off completely. You can just undo all the fasteners and the tray will come right down. So the oil pump fastener is a little 8 mil, just a little bit. There you go. Okay, now the other three. Those are Torx. I knew that, just forgot. Yep, T20 Torx. All right, I'll take those three off of there next. They're a little wonky to get to, but you just got to take your time. There's the other one. He is right here, right on top of the camera. You don't have to do this to get to your pressure sensors. You do because why? I like to clean as I go. Or is it just because, oh, no, there we go. So I'm gonna have to pop the sensors off there now too, but there's your tray. Just so that if everyone does this on your own, these tabs for your sensors, they got this little tab right here. I know it's hard to see. It's not great. This little tab right here, you've got to just snap back in place. You basically lift up on that with your finger, so it'll lift up and push back at the same time, and voila. Try to do this with one hand. Pull this tray right down over the oil pump assembly. There you go. Pry that right off, and that's what you're left with. And there is your tray. So you got to take the fasteners off for each sensor, and I'll put them back in, clean them all up. Voila. So the sensors have a T20. Clear. So he is clear, not full of nothing. Now there's a little screen in there. Alright, this is your drain, so be careful of that screen. Crankcase pressure sensor side, and you can see that little barb I was talking about on that nipple, okay, and see how it's sort of bent to go in line with the hose, the black hose. These are breaking, so just be gentle. So what I do is, you can see these got little grooves in here where the sensor snaps down in place. So just sort of take and pry one of those apart, and then just gently pull up on the sensor and pry him out. And there you go. Now you can see that sensor has a little O-ring on there, and look at the dirt on that. And that was cleaned 10 hours ago. So that might cause some problems if they're not clean. That's why I'm taking these out. So I'm going to press the air pressure sensor out now. He goes out the same way. And he's got an O-ring on there too. I'll take and clean him off. And there's your screen right inside there. And you can see the screen's got a little tiny bit of crap in it. So, and now it's gone. Alright. So we will clean these, starting with the air pressure sensors. I mean, they're both the same, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. But the first thing I'm going to do is get some more light on this situation. Take my pick and just real gently pry this rubber O-ring. I remember this being a little tedious the last time I did it. Boom. Alright. So yeah, they definitely got some crud on them. A smidgy dab. A smidgy dab, that's what I put on the end of that connector, both sides. Just a little tiny bit of dielectric. Okay, so just a tiny little bit of grease on that O-ring. Alright, not much. Slid right on there, nice. Make sure that hole's not covered. So that's cleaned up. That's ready to go back on. Time for a battery change. Quick charger. And the old toothbrush treatment again. Looks pretty good. So when this pops in now, you want to set it in place, line up the screw holes, and then make sure that that's going into the barbed end, which it is, and then just snap it down into place. Same thing with the other side. Make sure that this greased piece is going down its hole, which has the screen on it. Screen's still there, good. That's in place. Snap that in. Direction. And nope, we got her. Alright, that's good. Okay. Alright, the tray's back up in place. I've got the oil pump fastener in, not completely tightened down yet because I'm going to line up the holes for the tray. I've got my 3 fasteners here with your 15 or your 20, your T20, and I'll just go around and get the 3 of them started, 1 on this side and 2 on the other. Okay, so there's 1 in place, and using my left hand, but you can see the idea. Just screwing that in, and then I'll get the other ones in place and come around and tighten all of them. Okay, last one. Now I'm tightening this without using the lever of the ratchet. I'm just at the very base of the knuckle. Snug him up. Remember, this does have Loctite on it. Okay, throttle body time. So I've lubed up a little bit of that boot with some WD. Lubed up a little bit of this collar with WD. Go around the other side. Where am I going to put the camera? Where am I going to put the camera? I guess I'm just going to put the camera down for now. Then I remembered I had a tripod, so might as well use that. Put my hands around this tripod here. So your clamp is down there. This goes on fairly easy because it's got a little tab that it's got to line up with on the throttle body, and boom. Strap this down a bit. Make sure it's on the right end. So that's in there. Push down the tab. Alright, put this oil line back on. Alright, we'll come back to that. Okay, everything is back in place, buttoned up and tightened, Loctited, cleaned. As far as the sensors, throttle body, throttle cables, oil pump. Have to prime that when I get everything back together, but yeah. So now the next phase, I'm going to take the shock off and take the wheels off, and then start cleaning the shock, and then greasing the dog bones and all the connections down here, and as well as the wheel bearings, and then I'll get at the steering stem bearings. Okay, wheels off, shock is out. Pretty easy job, just a couple 14 mils. There's the shock cleaned up. Haven't decided if I'm going to send this away yet to get it done with the front suspension. Not quite there just yet. So now I'm going to take the lower suspension dog bone off. Now this is a new one here. Not sure how I'm going to tackle that. I can't seem to get to it from any angle. But I'll look at it and see. Up here. one. This fits through that just right, that lower chain guide. Take it over the bench. I'm gonna pop those collars off there and give those bearings a little attention. Never had the dog bone lower suspension off on this before, but there's a new one here. In order to get this dog bone off, I had to take the whole rear brake assembly off to get room to get a 17 mil down in here. I put some coil on the other side because it was a little tight. And then we'll punch that through so we can get that lower crap off of there. Alright, now this should just slide right out. And look at that. I mean, just enough room. Holy camole. Yep, look at that. 1 year drop. And it's just crap. So this was never greased right from the start, you guys. So that just goes to show you, when you buy something at the dealership, from the factory, that lower bolt was not greased. She's gonna get greased now. Popping seals and stuff out. And I'm gonna call it a day after this because I've been out here for quite a while. Well, like most times, I say I'm gonna finish doing something and then I'll just do one more thing and then that leads to something else. So yeah, pulled this apart and there was a little bit of grease on these roller bearings, but not as much as I would have liked, so I just repacked them with good old-fashioned Maxim waterproof grease.